Welcome back to Becoming Unbound, the podcast where we dive deep into the journeys of those who have broken free from the traditional path and created a life on their own terms. I'm your host, Carly Butler, and this is a show all about the pursuit of freedom. Whether you have left your 9-to-5 job, you're redefining success, or stepping into a more authentic version of yourself, each episode we have real, unfiltered conversations with incredible people who have embraced the challenge of building a life that aligns with their passions, values, and purpose. Today, I am so excited to have Ola on the podcast, and this is an extra special episode because this is my very first in-person recording. So Ola, as a conscious alchemist, guides individuals into deep transformation, dissolving limiting beliefs and reclaiming their power as conscious creators. She weaves together quantum, physics-based modalities, coaching, and energy work to help people achieve radical self-awareness. Her work is centered on leading individuals into a super position in their life where they fully embody their role as the source of their reality, shaping their world through vibration and frequency. From this space of total responsibility for their lives, they shift from passive participants to empowered architects of their own reality. All right, friends, let's dive into this amazing conversation with Ola. Welcome, Ola. So happy to have you on the podcast. So I would love to sort of introduce what's happening here, because if you're listening only, you might want to head on over to YouTube because we have set up an entire in-person studio in my living room. This has sort of been a dream of mine, honestly, to set this all up. And I'm incredibly grateful for you to have kind of given me that little nudge push into doing this, because I had originally seen this as a vision and we made it come to life. So yeah, I'm super excited that you're here, super excited that we're doing this on my couch. And I thought we might start off with just sort of telling our story and introducing yourself a little bit.
Where do I start?
Let's start with how we met.
I think we met in 2019. I was like the very early beginning of COVID and everything was locked up, and there was this group of people who were believing in freedom, in freedom of meeting each other and having different ideas about their body and vaccination, if I allowed to say this word here.
Yep.
Yeah. And we met through freedom movement. And it was an amazing time. I think that was, it was a very great time for me. I never can complain about COVID. I met incredible people, and a lot of them are still my friends, you including.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the time of expanding, definitely expanding. Every person was filtered by this madness that was created in the world. And that's what brought us together.
That is, yeah. Yeah, it was a really interesting time. And I'd always heard this idea of, your tight-knit community, your soul family, your soul community. And I thought I'd found it until I met the individuals that I met through this freedom movement. And it was quite incredible to all of a sudden be, throwing around the word soul sister, soul brother. And I never really understood it until that time, because it was just a time where all of a sudden all of these values that we shared came together, and it was so easy to talk to one another. Not only were we sort of fighting the same fight and coming together through that, of sort of seeing some of the stuff in society that wasn't quite making sense to anybody, but we also got a sense to be like, oh, we all value the same thing.
Definitely. It was like, it was the time where we all kind of start seeing each other for who we are.
Yeah.
A lot of masks was coming out. And in this time of adversity, people start actually looking beyond the mask, beyond the identities, beyond the idea of who they are. And Even like a lot of my friends, some that I also met at this period of time, um, still don't have a great relation with their family. It was like a lot of separation and uniting, but I don't look at it as something negative. I look at it as a purifying, like the purifying your purpose, purifying like your intentions, actually purifying your tribe, your community. A lot of people like had to leave the friends they used to be and the family that used to be their tribe because of this choice.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say and use the word mask because I found myself so much masking. And I remember moving into this, there was a big period of awakening. But when I went into it, it's kind of like, oh, yeah, I'm the teacher, I'm the yoga girl, and I can just wear that identity. I could just wear that mask of being the teacher and being the girl who taught yoga. And like, that was it. That's kind of all I needed to be. And then once all of that started to be stripped away, it was like, oh no, where are all my little pieces of my identity going? But then I came to understand that I wasn't my authentic self. It was kind of just this mask I was wearing around. And then the people that we met, like you and the people in sort of that community, we all shared the same values. And I was actually able to share truly who I was to those people rather than just show up as like, oh, I'm Carly, the teacher, and that's all you need to know.
Yes, it's like, unfortunately, in our society, we shaped this way. So since we are little, we always give a name, starting from your own name, right? When you just come into the world and you're just you, and you got the name, and that you got the gender, and you got so many different identities that put on you, that at some point we become this identity. We think that's who we are. And especially when you're little, parents and adults, they can just ask you like, who you want to be, as if you are not existing right now, as you have not enough. So a lot of people and a lot of clients I work with, we like, they all share the same thing. I'm not enough. I need to become someone. I need to become that girl who teaches yoga. I need to become that person who has a business. I need to have this identity that can be accepted, can be interesting, can be intriguing. It's almost become like that. It's not an authentic and really alive interaction, but it's become an exchange. It's so far away from give and take, so far away from gifting and receiving, where there is no strings attached, when there is no expectations. And when they ask you, hi, what is your name? Like, who are you? A lot of people would say like, I'm a scientist, I'm an engineer. So they identify what they do, their profession, with who they are. And at that time, it was a beautiful filter who was the filter that didn't care about what you do
Yeah.
and how you protect yourself with this identity. The filter that was actually showing the true pain of the people, the true um, motivations in life. That I think that was a very beautiful time to live through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look back at some of the best times. It was some of the most transformative times for everyone. And especially when so many people went through job loss or business closures, like it really allowed you to see, like, okay, if I've poured my life into this archetype of who I am and this identity, well, some of that was forcefully taken away. And I think that sort of that through that force, no matter how devastating it was also there's a silver lining to that, that we did get to see our inner motivations and strip ourselves away from those identities that could be limiting.
You see, when we talk about freedom, I agree that you see the difference, it's in definitions. So everything starts from definition, because you can use force and it depends what you identified with this. Like, what do you define as a force? The same with freedom. Um, yeah, push can be like really painful, but it's like sometimes give a birth, like a woman give a birth to a baby. It's not that we define it's right or wrong, but it's exactly how you see. And every person sees things differently. And that's what's, I think, the biggest factor that we don't take into consideration when we interact, when we're trying to fight against or fight for something, that everyone looks, and freedom, it's different thing to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And if, like, how deep you want to go there, because there is a different levels of freedoms. There is a freedom, 3D freedom, and which is freedom that does not exist. It's inside the certain circumstances. You're free inside the cube, and you're free to do whatever you want, but it's not really freedom. And then we can move to different kind of freedom. As consciousness expands, then your freedom expands. But at the same time, when you get aware of yourself, of your true self, freedom, it's just a word.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessary anymore, because you realize yourself in everything that is, and everything has a space and place, and there is no like need to fight against or fight for. You can just create different. The superposition we were talking in, right?
Yeah.
When you're in the middle of your reality in the center and you are in your superposition, then like you define what freedom is for you.
Yeah.
It's nobody else defines that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're playing in polarity.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need to have a freedom, it means by creating a freedom, you need to create a polarity that it's not freedom, violence or
Right.
war or something. And even in the time of COVID, right? It was a freedom movement, and I met incredible people through that. I never was like taking the sides, even though I was pushed and saying like, you need to take the side, you need to take the side. And what I want to share, as long as you're forced to take the side between two positions, it's not a choice. We thought that it's a choice because in Matrix that we live like in this reality when there is a program 0101. So we were taught that there is only two choices, yes and no, yes and no. And so this is like a program in our brain that it's always working. So we're like resisting, reacting, or like aligning and agreeing. But if you release that, release resisting and reacting, or agreeing and aligning, then the choice comes to that's the real freedom. Because then you can choose different. You don't have to fall into these categories. You can choose for as a superposition everything that's available for you and never was available. Because mind works as a program, everything that's put there. So, and as a program, so it's a algorithm.
Yeah.
And that's where the trick of fighting, like fighting for something, it does a different level. So at some level, it's just, if you don't understand that it's a game that you're playing,
Yeah.
then you never going to be free.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you like reject something, just by that even moment, you stay attached to that. And whenever you put your attention, your energy in quantum physics, it's very clear that you're making alive. So it's more energy. For example, if you doing your project, right, and you put your energy there, like more and more and more, so your project grows, grows, and grows. The same thing with whatever we don't like. If we fight against something, like if we put attention there, we're actually supporting. We're giving energy to that. We're supporting it.
Right.
And that's the difference in freedom, fighting for or against, or being free in your awareness that you are always free to begin with, and you can create different. It's like in cinema. You always have a choice which movie to watch.
Right. Yeah, there's so many things there. You've brought up so many good points. The the one thing I love the idea of the game, like it's all a game, this whole life. Like, and if you can, I mean, there's hard parts of a game, there's challenges, there's decisions that need to be made. And I feel like, but if you learn how to play the game and just acknowledge it as a game, it can all of a sudden be more freeing in that sense. And it's not so dense and heavy, right? The other thing that you touched on, and we talk all the time on this podcast about freedom. And I always ask every guest, like, what is your definition of freedom? And you've kind of answered that. And it can range from so many different things. Like you said, there's 3D freedoms. There's like, I knew that part of my idea of freedom was having freedom over my time and schedule from, this 9-to-5 job that was demanding of my time just to, to earn that financial freedom. Like, there's all these different ways of identifying freedom and defining that word, because you're right, everything is according to the definition, and yet that definition that we hold is not only, I feel like, ever changing, because my definition of freedom has changed.
I agree, it's ever changing, but also it's totally different. Even we're looking at the same subject, we can look at the flower and I can see the flower and you can see the flower. But in reality, we are in a different quantum fields, in a different quantum position, and we see different things. It's different angles, it's different. And we think we experience the same, but we are not. And we can talk about, we can talk about a simple thing like a table. And in your brain, table is the table. It's the picture and the information that's stored about the table that you were little girl and you were taught by your mom that this is table, this is table. And little Carly, as an infinite being you are, that tried to kind of like collapse this huge, amazing like energy into a little being and a character, that has a name, that has a parents, the story, and all of this. So she was cutting this big parts of herself, saying like, okay, so I'm gonna limit that thing to a table.
Mm-hmm.
And your table is different from my table. And we can talk about table, but we kind of like in a different timelines, in a different spaces, we're talking about different things. It's the same about freedom. But it's this beauty of life when you think about it, when you actually like dive into that this unique perspective that through your eyes, through my eyes, through everything eyes, it's like source experiencing absolutely unique thing, looking at the same apple and with different eyes, having the same experience, but totally different because of the set of beliefs and set of filters and everything that you encompass in yourself, you as a persona, as avatar, as a character in the game.
Yeah.
As a character in the game. And for me personally, freedom, it's being aware that being in the game, being the character, and at the same time, watching myself and being aware that I'm the character. And it gives total freedom because in this case, there is no mistakes.
Yeah.
There is no, and every time like you forget who you are and become Ola and become limited and suddenly the whole world collapsed, the freedom is to remind yourself who you truly are. And then again, the space, again, like you just, oh, okay, come back to your center, come back to your superposition. What I want to play right now, who I want to be right now. And it's every moment, this is freedom for me. Not freedom from something, not freedom of something. Freedom as a state of being.
Wow. I feel like I'm processing in this exact moment, and we were talking about before of how we dress and what a simple concept to be like how we dress. And I always, because my identity was a teacher, I always dressed like a teacher. And I felt at the end of my teaching career, there was this like felt like there was like this itch under my skin because I was like, I am sick of dressing like a teacher. Like what would I dress like? And I remember having a conversation. They're like, oh, whatever you wear, like it doesn't make up who you are. But it was like this profound moment where I was like, yes, but because I've attached myself to this identity as a teacher, now I dress as a teacher. But what does Carly dress like without the identity as a teacher? And it turns out it's way more wild. It's still a little primary. It's still a little bit of a costume, and there's colors and things that come in. But it turns out I wear all sorts of wild things. And it felt so freeing to just have that awareness that it was like, oh, now that I've unshackled myself from this identity of a teacher, this primary school kindergarten teacher dress code that I had just put on top of myself for no reason, all of a sudden lifted. And it was so freeing.
Freeing. Exactly. Exactly. It was so freeing. I totally can relate to that. It's identities that we're wearing and we think that's who we are.
Right.
But even the wild Carly, right? Even if you even make one step deeper and not identifying yourself with anything that you wear or anything that you define yourself or structure yourself into something, you can just experience this freedom as a point of view. So it's almost like in a theater. When I was 14, I was working in a theater. It was so fascinating when you can go, you put a dress and you're a different character and everything changes in you. Your tone of voice changes, how you move changes, so many different little things. You kind of dissolve in a new experience. And this freedom, as long as you remember who you are, as long as you remember that you're not the character, you're the guy who's playing computer, you're not inside the game.
Right.
You are experiencing inside the game, but you're also outside player. You are the player.
Yeah.
And then all the ideas that life is against you or life affects you and you have to do something with life start crumble. Because when you're in your superposition, when you know who you are, you do understand, you do realize that like, oh, I'm not an effect. Everything else is a fact of me. I am the source of my reality. I am the source of my experience. Of course, it's limited. Like every game has a limitation. We like play Minecraft. Everything is like my son is playing Minecraft. So everything there is like cubes, right? Square.
Yeah.
So you have limitation here of the body and certain of course, certain form and like it's the rules of the game that we sign up for. But at the same time, if inside the game, being you absolutely free how you experience everything. And it's up to you. It's not up to Carly. It's not up to your character. It's not up to anyone. It's up to you. If you remember who you are in any given moment, you can just like observe life, engaged in it like a child when just like touching something, looking at it. Wow. And it's so much opening, like because it's a new experience. It's nothing that has been before.
Right.
But because we're not living from that heart, from that center, from that knowing of freedom, who we are, we move here in the head. And when we move in the head, then there is a lot of filters. Then there is a lot of things. And mind created in a beautiful way. It's really beautiful instrument when you know how to use it. When it's not using you, but you using the mind. To save energy, very often, mind creates the pictures. So it's like we talk about table, right? So it's like first time you see the table and you're like, oh, this is the table. Your mind make a picture, put it like a note and store it. And that's how we stop seeing stuff. The kids, they don't remember. So every time they see a table, they're like, wow, what is that? When you're a kid, you can like be on a table and it can be like spaceship and can be like
Right.
some castle. It always transforms. And it's always like, because in reality, if you go deep inside, 99% of it, it's emptiness. It's very little matter. It's, and what, like, it's really, it's emptiness. So it can be transformed in any form. But because how we, like, as a filter, perceive reality, how our mind works and how our eyes works, like, we can see very little speck of reality. We actually see 0.035% of reality. Yes. 99.90 we don't see.
But we can feel it. Like I definitely get the sense that like there's so much more to our perception. Even I watch my little cat. She's running around and I'm like, what are you seeing? Because she'll just be staring at some spot on the wall and I'm like, to my eyes, they're looking at nothing. But to her, she's seeing something for sure that my senses are not able to pick up on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when we like know about it, we stop being so ignorant and saying like, oh, I know things. I know how it looks. I know how it's supposed to be. I know, like, you like blind. You like, we don't see anything.
Yeah.
We see like such a small speck of this reality. But when you look from not the physical eyes, but from the eyes of your like source eyes, from your I am eye,
right,
then way more game is available. Then way more like different layers and levels of the game are available for you. I forgot, I didn't finish my previous thought because I got into something else. But the idea is like, that when you stop being so attached to your name, to who you think you are, to idea of I'm mom, I'm a partner, I'm a scientist, I'm real estate, I'm like, if you stop being so, making it so important, if you undefine yourself, if you kind of like start like crumbling these structures of, then you will actually feel real freedom. Then you can be anyone, like absolutely anyone. Because in many ways, like the society is like, create the polarity. By the way, polarity does not exist. It's a phantom.
Oh, you've triggered everyone.
Polarity does not exist. It's really like, we were told that white is the opposite of black. It's not. It just is. Like, it doesn't have. But it's really interesting as a program 1010 to manipulate and control, right? So it's a logarithm. And so everything we like looking for polarity or looking for duality. But if you just imagine that this is not a duality or polarity, then you have way more space, not being between. It's like plus and minus, right? It's like if you put it in wholeness, then you can perceive reality of what it is. We taught to always be good, to always be nice, to always be kind, to always be this. So the thing is, we came here as a whole entity, like this incredible intelligent consciousness to experience what the hell is all about we can do here. And then we got through like this filters, like, like electrons through the walls, like, okay, yes, no. And we separate from who we are. And we're trying to maintain this image of positivity and being really positive. By doing that, we cut half of who we are. It's almost like if you just want to paint a painting and you just say like, I'm just going to use bright colors. No gray, no brown, no black. It's bad colors. It's a bad vibration. It's a low vibration. We're going to avoid that. How nice your picture is going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be limited for sure.
It's going to be so limited. Yeah. And it's going to be so limited just because we taught that this is bad, this is good, and you have to be good. But this is not bad and not good. It just is. It's all love. It's all the consciousness in a different vibration. It's like you experience Carly, I'm experiences Ola, right?
Yeah.
And it's not defined as it's just certain vibration. So it's this unique vibration. So everything in consciousness exists, and there is nothing that is separated. Only mind separates it.
Right.
And where we have this polarity, then there is no freedom. Then you have to go between, because only whole you can be free. But if you divided yourself, then you have to be here or there. When you're here, you're missing this part. When you're here, you're missing this part.
How did you come to know all of this? It's like, what was there a moment that, or has it been sort of your whole life? Like, where did this awakening, this awareness come from for you?
I kind of was like born with that,
Yeah.
and I didn't consider it a gift. But
Yeah.
when I was a little child, I saw energies, I saw everything, how people work. I saw the conflict in my parents, what they were thinking, what they were feeling, what they were doing. And I thought like everybody perceived reality like this. I really thought so. And my mom always told me, like, I was a very quiet child. I could play by myself for 5 hours. And I was like, I wasn't by myself. I have 5 friends. So nobody sees them. Like, apparently nobody sees them, but me. And at some point, at some point, I actually like refused and left all of these gifts. I told about my invisible friends to my grandparent, to my grandpa, and he was the really, really big love of my life. And he just was really scared, and he's like, this is not good. You have to like stop it. And so for a long time in my life, I was trying to be normal. I was trying to, so I was building career. I was in marketing and public relation. I traveled the world. I was really trying hard to be like a normal person. Yeah. And at some point, it took me to lose everything, and I mean everything. And that being like pretty much in shelter with my son, to receive myself back, to open up again. And awareness is not something that is far. It's right here.
Right.
You don't have to go anywhere. That's the whole idea also of religion, that you have to do something, you have to go somewhere, and then it's not gonna something's gonna happen. Our awareness is right here. It's just this emptiness that you drop into your heart, and you close your eyes, and you stop trying to stop your mind. Just let him be. But you bring all of your attention in your heart, and you go deeper and deeper. And you might feel pain, because we all like closing hearts very often with a lot of vibrations, and we call it negative. It's not negative, we're protecting ourselves. So when you go deeper and deeper, it might feel like burning sensation or pain, but just go deeper and deeper and deeper, and you find this one self, this primal vibration, I call this. And it doesn't have to be light, but it's usually like really bright. Because also this idea that darkness and light, like, like it's 99% of darkness everywhere. So it's again like a lot of, and then you connect, and then everything is available to you. It's like quantum field. We can communicate with that. It's all exists at the same time. So when you have this connection to that, all information is available for everyone. It's not just like I'm so special and certain people so special. It's like I've just practiced many lifetimes,
Right.
on this. It was just my interest, right?
Yeah.
Somebody has interest in something else, but it's available. It's a feature. It's nothing that is like gift or something. It's a feature. Like you have your car, it has a feature.
Right. Yeah.
AC, you have like a recliner and all of this stuff, right? So it's the same thing. It's just the matter. It's like a drop. Just imagine the ocean. An ocean, this is the whole like consciousness, awareness. And you are the drop in this ocean. So every time the wave smashes, you separate. and you're flying in the air. And then you're like, oh, I'm Carly, Ola, George, like cats, like any, right? And then you like drop back in the ocean, and you again as water, you a drop in the ocean, but your quality is water. And as a quality of water, you have access to all information through the whole ocean.
Right.
So when you start resonating with that, anything you ask is available. Information is there. You just need to ask. Our society, again, based on programs, on matrix programs, on like a lot of programs that, like, I don't want to go here, that, and freak a lot of people out. What are we really living like here? But Matrix movie is not far from the truth. But anyway, all I'm saying that we have the ability and capacity, but we don't have this access because like we go into another direction. So I forgot what I was talking about right now. Before it was something important, but I forgot.
It'll come back to you. It needs to resurface.
Yes. It's about this ocean and
oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that information. So it's I remember what I was wanted to talk that we also a society that focus on answers. Everybody's like 3 ways to do this, how to do this, how to do this. How is the question of the mind. As long as you ask how, you're done. You like not actually living your soul purpose. You're not living in awareness. You're living here. So every time it's happening, awareness comes from the question.
I like the idea of there's a sort of a saying, I don't know what it is, but when you are looking to do something, you kind of leave the how up to God. And you just focus on the feeling of sort of what you want to feel and sort of like the sort of the energy and the frequency and the vibe of what it is that you are sort of looking for. And then you leave the how, like the how is not something that you can even concern yourself with. Because whatever it is that you're feeling, there's 1,000 different paths to get there. And it's kind of not up to you necessarily in that moment in your mind to choose one of those paths. It's more just the universe is going to unfold. Your higher self, the soul of who you are, is going to take you down the path that is the most right for you, no matter what that is.
It can be.
Yeah.
If you have a right path or not right path.
Yeah.
It's like, the idea of that there is a right path and there is no path, right? No.
Well, there isn't a not right path. Like the only path for you that you're on is the right one.
That's exactly it. So why we call it a ride? It's just experience. It's like you're walking in the park and, oh, are you going to go there and you're going to be eaten by a wolf? That's okay. You're going to go there and swim? That's okay.
Right.
So for consciousness, there is no bad experiences.
Yeah.
It's only in people's mind, like, that person that sitting on the streets and begging for money, this is like poor life. And person who is like having a yacht and traveling the world, this is good life. Nothing close.
Right.
Every experience is absolutely valuable and extremely interesting because there is no attachment to that. It's only our mind that attaches. My point was that freedom is in the question, not in the answers. And we're a society that actually was brainwashed, and meticulously taught from school, from kindergarten, from teachers, from everywhere, that we need to get the answer, right answer.
Right.
And it's only one answer that they give you. They give you the answer. You have to remember the answer. And that's the answer.
Right.
So we cut from our awareness from a very young age because all the kids until 4, they totally connected.
Yeah.
So they see energies, they can communicate with everything. And they if you ask them question, they will tell you because they are connected.
Yeah.
And then this question disappears. And we start questioning each other with close-ended questions.
Right.
Awareness doesn't come from this. If you ask the question in a situation that you're stuck, how are you going to do that? This and this, this and that. This is like the limitation of your brain. there is no creation there.
Mm.
You like open and you like, what else is possible here that I've never considered? And you don't look for the answer, but you open up the space of possibilities.
Right.
And you start vibrating in the vibration of decision already, of solution already. You don't know how,
Right.
but it's already done.
Yeah.
You're already vibrating. It's already done.
Yeah.
And what else is possible? Universe. But universe is you. God is you. It's like you asking you, bigger you,
Yeah.
to give you some hints to smaller you. You're not smaller, but it's almost like the finger is asking my body, what else is possible?
Oh, okay.
You know?
That's a good
Yeah.
way to
You
look
are
at it.
inside
Yeah.
the finger
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, I'm separate. I'm like,
You think you're alone.
yes, I'm
Yeah.
alone and this one, nobody sees me and I need to connect with these fingers to be together. And you like asking like, what else is possible? And I'm like, everything is possible, honey. It's right here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
You are not alone. You're
Yeah.
part of me.
Right.
And we can dance and we can do whatever we can. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So Ola, if someone is starting to feel this either itch inside of them or starting to feel this awareness that maybe they aren't as free as they thought they were, and they're starting to understand that this is something that they want to feel in their life, where would you suggest that they start? What's a baby step that someone could take to begin this journey towards a new definition of freedom for themselves?
Okay, great how-to question, right?
Oh, yeah, a great how-to question. You're right.
Yes, yeah, I think it would be like just very powerful to say like just do this and that.
Right.
The thing is like we are so, as I said before, so individually crafted and shifted. So for everyone, it will be a different kind of step.
Mhm.
But what I would suggest for everyone is to stop when you don't feel free. When you have this sensation of where usually when we don't feel free, we have this kind of like collapsing in our body. And the freedom is inside the body, not outside of the body, because everything we feel through the body. So the sensation that we're looking for, happiness, whatever it is, freedom, it's a state.
Right.
So that it's not just a feeling, it's the whole state that has full like body can experience that. So for that, I would just invite people to stop and start taking long breath and start kind of integrating back in the body. Because in the present moment, there is nothing, no freedom, no, like, there is no words, there is nothing in the present moment. In the present moment is the moment that nothing is happening.
Mm-hmm.
You're just being. And when you start like with a very simple practice, it's gonna calm your nervous system down. So you start with taking like 4 breaths in and 4 counts in and 8 counts out. And then you start smelling. You just focus on your smell and you smell and you find and distinguish like and discern like 3, 4, 5 different smell. And you will be surprised that the smell of your palm from different sides, totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Then you start looking for very little things, like very tiny things, and you find very little things, and you also count like 4 or 5 of them. And then you start hearing the sounds. How many sounds you can distinguish right now? How many sounds can you hear? How many sounds? And then you start feeling like the taste. What does it taste like? Like in your mouth. What is this? Is it coffee? What is this? And you have a sip of water. What does it taste like? And the same, like you can lick your palm and see like, oh, that's how it tastes like. And then you start feeling your body. How is it actually sitting? Is it comfortable? Oh, I'm standing. Like how the skin touches the dress or like whatever you wear. And all of this together will shut your mind. It shut your clutter, the talking box, and you will feel happy in that moment. if happiness ever exists. But you will not be feeling free, bothered, not free. Like it would be not in that world.
Mm-hmm.
You will be here and now. And that would be the first step that I would suggest to anyone to take in any situation when they feel they are not coping, they forgot who they are, they're running, they're rushing, something is breaking, something is like, just stop. Just stop.
Yeah.
And come back to you.
Yeah, I think that would be a really valuable practice, almost as a daily thing or when in need. But I think, yeah, I don't know if happiness is exactly what you're aiming for, but whatever it is that you feel is like, the way that you want to live your life. I think, yeah, you're right. There's nothing in the present moment. There is no, oh, I'm not free. There isn't freedom. There isn't stuckness. There isn't anything. And I feel that is a great first practice. And then, yeah, you do start to like get the sense of things. So finding that awareness in simple moments would be an amazing practice to have. Do you suggest to do it on a daily basis, or is it more just whenever you need it?
I would suggest it to live like this.
Okay.
I would suggest to actually like being present. And if you start practicing this while you're driving and suddenly start feeling like and smells and everything, you will be surprised how many things you will see that you've never seen in your car, even how many things you've seen around a street that you've driven like so many times. Or if you just have a meal, have a meal with yourself. This is the most precious experience when you can smell, taste, hear, like touch food. It's insane.
Wow.
You don't have to go to any like VR or any idea, you don't have to change anything in your life. You immediately, your life will become so rich, so enhanced. It becomes so yummy, juicy.
Yeah.
Just because you are here. Because we always think like we need to do something, to have something, to go somewhere, and then,
Right.
and then, but then it's going to be now.
Right. Then there's going to be another then.
Yeah, then going to be another now.
Yeah.
It's not going to be now.
Yeah.
And if you are in your head, doesn't matter what you have, you're not going to be able to enjoy it. Yeah. You're not going to be able to connect to that. Yeah, that I would suggest. Yeah, try to live like this. Yeah. Every moment you remember. For many of my clients, it's a practice that I do. Like I give, like put an alarm every hour, and every hour alarm goes, and you like, okay, what do I feel right now? Where am I? And you start just taking 2 minutes of your day to actually being in your life. And this is only minutes going to be that you are there for the whole day, most of the people. Actually. Yeah. And it will actually change and going to break your routine.
Right.
Breaking
those patterns.
Autopilot that you think you live in life, but you're not there. You're not available for your life.
Wow. That's really powerful. Great. All right. I'm going to go set an alarm on my phone.
It really helps. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah.
Because it's actually like very simple practice.
Yeah.
That brings so much of like, oh, I'm here.
Right. Yeah.
I have me. Doesn't matter what's happening.
Yeah.
You always can find this 2 minutes.
Yeah. I used to use that a lot. The practice of finding colors in a room. I often would sort of have these experiences of, I don't know if they were quite panic attacks, but a lot of anxiety where I couldn't take a deep breath. And one of the things someone suggested to me was, okay, so pick a color and then look around the room and you're going to find 5 green things.
Yeah.
Or next find 5 blue things. But I love that you don't have to be experiencing a state where you feel like you need to come back into the present moment. It's more of just a practice every day, every hour, whatever it is, to just live a more, I love that word, juicy life. And that is where that idea, that whatever that concept definition of freedom is, like you can experiencing that on an hourly basis.
Yes. You can experience this freedom.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Every hour.
Yeah.
It's a freedom 2 minutes. It's a 2 minutes of freedom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, Ola, is there any last thoughts that you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I would say go deeper.
Mm,
Ask questions behind the surface and trust you.
mm,
Ask for answers in you. Go in that space in your heart and ask questions there. We look so much outside as if somebody can give us an answer.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not there.
No.
Yeah.
I love that. That's exactly how I started on this journey, was all of a sudden starting to listen to those feelings and those thoughts that were coming up, that it was like, okay, I don't know if I'm a teacher anymore. Okay, let me explore that further. Maybe that might break my heart in the moment, but let me explore that a little, ask that deeper question, and then all of a sudden be like, yeah, I think that feeling is right. And maybe if I trusted myself enough, I could completely change my life, which evidently,
Yeah.
here we go.
You absolutely like flip it, like not upside down. You absolutely jumped. You did a quantum jump from that's what like, yeah, I
Yeah.
also work with my clients to help them to do this quantum leap. It's so like
Yeah.
buzzword right now,
Yeah.
but it's how it actually works.
Right.
You changes when you shift realities, everything shifts, and even your past starts shifting, your memories start changing.
Mhm.
So your mind start actually like changing your memories to fit that new reality, to fit that new identity, to fit that new you that you are
Yeah.
doing. And just to absolutely kill it for listeners, just between you and me, 88% of this reality and knowledge and information that we think it's true, it's not, it's inverted.
Right. Yes. Yeah, we've definitely got a bit of an upside down happening. And I think it back to our point of finding each other through COVID. It was sort of like when you do start to look at the inverted side of things and understand, you're like, I don't trust this right side up version that society is telling me, or the news is telling me, or the school is telling me, whatever it is, and ask those deeper questions. And then all of a sudden you get to the other side of that, in that inversion, and you realize that maybe, yeah, we have been living in a bit of this upside down world.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I'm talking like even the knowledge and everything that we perceive as true.
Right.
It's not really. It's very relevant,
Yes.
like to certain extent. It's
Yeah.
not,
To our timelines, to our
yeah,
existence, to our realities,
yeah.
for sure. So is there, if someone wanted to get in contact with you because they are just fascinated with everything that you've said, how can they find you?
I'm not really social on social media.
That's all right.
either. Yeah, because like I work with people who really are like ready to change in reality.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like really changing their life and shedding all the identity that they have to get this freedom, freedom of
Yeah.
creation, freedom of creating your own like existence, your own things. So if somebody wants to really dive into that, and um, I'm gladly to be your guide.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will, if anyone wants to DM me or leave a comment.
Yeah,
I
can.
definitely-
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can
Well,
leave a. Yeah, we can just leave a like. You can email me. Actually, you can email me at consciousnessalchemistola@gmail.com.
great.
Yeah, or you can just send me text or like
Yeah. We'll put it all in the show notes.
the Instagram
Yep.
27 Olala 27. So yeah,
Perfect. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today,
thank you.
Ola.
That was so nice to hear and like co-create this.
Yes, we
space and
really
create like this. Yeah, this
You really
podcast.
did it. Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much. So, friends, that is a wrap for today's episode on Becoming Unbound. If you liked what you heard today, feel free to give me a like, a subscribe, share it with someone who might just need this exact message. And I hope you continue to find your own definition of freedom, no matter what that is in this reality, and keep living that unbound life. We will see you on the next one.
Thank you.